Welcome back to another episode of Explore Grant County. And I want to tell everyone, happy Resurrection Sunday.
It is. Happy Resurrection Sunday. The nice thing is, for a fun fact about Resurrection Sunday, the Holy Spirit lives inside of each one of us. Jesus sent them as a comforter. So inside of all of us is the Holy Spirit. Number two, we got dominion back, not dominance, but dominion back on the earth. So our job is to bring order to chaos in the world. Surprise, surprise.
Fun fact. And here I thought we were going to talk about business.
Oh.
But that is.
Bringing order into the world can't be done with
business.
businesses.
I'm about my Father's business.
Correct.
And that's what we are all supposed to be doing every day of the week.
Not just one day a year.
Yeah.
For Resurrection Sunday. So, yeah.
So, that flowed really well. It's almost like we planned this.
Did it seem awkward? Did it?
No.
Okay,
I think it came off all right.
Right.
That'll be the stuff we talk about later on.
I get told a lot of things I do are awkward and not funny. My wife's like, that must have sounded really funny in your head. I'm like, it sounded hilarious.
She said that today at lunch.
I get that all the time at home.
God bless our wives for keeping us humble.
Is humble the word or from not getting in trouble?
Yeah.
I need that more than anything.
So today we're going to be talking about business a little bit.
Correct.
And so give a little bit of background of your business career, business experience, what you do for people that might not know. I mean, because you're not just a pretty face.
Wow. I've been hoping that would help me work and pay for my family. But no, I've been in business world I'm 46 this year. I started when I was 21. Graduated from Shepherd College with an associate's degree in 2001, and I've been in the world of business, corporate business, for about 20 years. And my positions have held where I'm in charge of the P&L, which stands for profit and loss, of divisions for companies. And so I've had the responsibility of having to be a leader who's sales and marketing focused, but also understanding the financial side of the business. Just not let's make a sale and be happy. How do we have profit? How do we make sure we manage that with our expenses and our revenue? I mean,
because
it's a lot. If
you don't know this, that you need your profits to be more than your losses, or you're in trouble.
Well, don't tell the government that, because I've always said, and it's why I've always harped on taxes. The government doesn't have a money issue; they have a spending issue. I've said that for so many years,
all the time. Because
it's not just local; it's the whole government.
What does the federal government take in? It's like $4 trillion or so.
They don't have an income issue; they have a spending issue.
Yeah,
and in the world of business, when you have that issue, you go bankrupt, or someone comes and buys you for pennies on the dollar and makes you part of a larger conglomerate or whatnot. The only way that works seems to be in the world of government. Yeah. And I'm talking about the federal government, right?
Well, all governments.
But some governments are not allowed. I think it's the law, and I'm going from memory, but isn't it like West Virginia? They're not allowed to have a deficit in their budget.
I don't know, but if that is the truth, and I do want, I've been trying. Of course, they've been in session here, and I want to interview John Paul Hott at some point in time to go over all the things that they passed, because we've heard a lot.
Yeah,
we're allowed to do moonshine,
and we weren't allowed to before.
Well, it's something about the amount that you're allowed to make at home and stuff like that. So there's all kinds of
I know friends who make moonshine, and it is very. And of course, I'm saying this as a pastor. Some moonshine smells really good. I said smell. I shouldn't sound like Bill Clinton.
Yeah,
it smells really good, but
depends what the definition of is. So
I did see that.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to him, and that is one thing. I think you might be right that the West Virginia government,
I think by law
has
they can't
to be
have
balanced.
And they have to have a balance. I believe so. The federal government does not.
I wish they did.
Well, you mean West Virginia?
No. The federal government.
Wow. Here's what you do, because it's all about money. I don't care what we say. You follow the rule I was taught my business career 20 years ago. Follow the money. You'll get your answer to everything. If the Congress, the House and the Senate, was not paid unless they had a balanced budget,
it would be balanced.
Never have an issue.
Exactly.
But my God, we aren't going to pay these people six figures who are working on government taxpayers' money,
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So if you actually made the people responsible, and so I think in West Virginia, I'm talking off. I don't know, But I can't imagine the county or Grant County being able to work on a negative budget. I don't know if they're allowed to. And I'm sure the school systems can. I'm sure. I'm saying I'm sure.
I guess
I'm making an assumption. I don't think they can.
And I guess when you're figuring that all out too, is I assume you can take loans out and you're just have to figure those loans up as part of your budget. It
depends.
Things like that.
Because, I mean, I'm responsible for the church's budget, Love Christian Assembly. And if we needed to buy a vehicle, right, we can take a loan out. But there's certain things in our bylaws and our covenants that we're required that we can and can't do. So I'm guessing, but I think I remember from one of your past podcasts, somebody
now that
saying,
you're saying, I think, yeah.
And I forget if it was Randy. Is Randy, what was it? Randy's last name?
Smith, Senator Randy
I don't know
Smith.
if it was Senator Smith or if it was,
I think Delegate Hot.
I thought someone say that they can't have a budget that isn't balanced.
Which, man, that's so nice.
West Virginia had a surplus.
Yeah.
And this is how some of our conversations started. They had a surplus. And
$1 billion.
Finding a way to reduce it. And so while the state reduced it, the local government said, whoa, we need a 1% in Petersburg. We need to get more levies in Grant County. So we seem to have a way to I don't want to say balance it out because it's our money.
It's the circle of life.
Our money.
It's our money.
It's our money that we earn.
And I did say that once is I don't want anybody telling me how I can spend my money that I've worked for.
I don't want to tell you, and I don't think anybody should.
No.
The only one that can tell you to do it is that thing called the Holy Spirit when it says, hey.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that thing called my wife.
There's times I go to my wife, I'm like, I think the Holy Spirit told us to do this. And she's like, oh, I wish you'd stop listening to
I did that
guy.
once to her, and she told me, she says, go back and make sure.
Well, someone else was telling me, say, listen, the Holy Spirit doesn't live with your wife. Just remember that. So make sure you two come and agree together on it. But so I'm not sure. But in the world of business, if you don't want to go bankrupt or you don't want to fail, your revenue, which are your sales traditionally, have to make sure that they are greater than your expenses. And some, like Amazon, when Amazon started and Uber started decades ago, Amazon lost money for, I don't remember how many years, but they lost money for so many years and they went public. And Bezos said, hey, listen, there's a point where we hit here in Amazon. And once we hit this point, we are crazy successful.
Yeah.
But not taxpayer money, individual citizens said, here's my money to invest in you. We buy what you're selling because we know if what you say is true, our $100,000 is going to become $2 million or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people became very wealthy off of Amazon, Tesla.
I was just hearing, actually, I was just listening the other day. There's like 7 companies right now that are almost guaranteed profitable all the time of the entire S&P 500.
Who are they? I'm sure Amazon has to.
It was Amazon, Tesla, but Tesla took a big tumble, but they were like number 7.
Oh, wow.
It was Microsoft, the Alphabet, which is what Google is out of, Apple. I don't remember the rest of them now, but it was the ones that everyone knows and uses.
Amazon, and this has been 6 months ago. I bought Amazon at 80 because I was shocked it was 80. It went to 80 to 120 in like 2 months. And I told my wife, I'm like, honey, we just took like a 35-40% increase in our investment. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'm going to sell it because there's no way with the economy we're in, Amazon's going to keep going up unless they just lay off that. I mean, the way you can do it is to adjust your finances is unless you reduce your expenses drastically, your revenue is not going to triple. They're now like $175 a share.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could have doubled my money if I'd have kept it.
Yeah. That's hard.
But
that's what all the, if you listen to all the people that invest, it's keep it in there for the long haul for those companies.
Well, it's also, I was taught for investing. I'm not an investor. I don't want anybody to be like, do what Justin says. I was told you'll never know the absolute bottom and you'll never buy at the absolute bottom and you'll never sell at the absolute top. So you want to buy it as, at a really good price and sell it at a really good price. So you don't want to try to be that one genius who's like, it's going to go down tomorrow, So that was
unless your name is
rule.
Pelosi.
Well,
and then you seem to always hit the stock market.
That's because
100%
she knows,
success rate.
That's because she knows laws that are going to be put up by legislature that are going to affect companies, for the negative or positive, their profit line. And so, yeah.
So what's some of the things that count as expenses in a business? So people hear expenses. Well, what does that mean?
Well, the challenge with business is a lot of people think we just print money. And listen, we get revenue, obviously. But so a small business. And so a small business is around 5,000 and less employees. No. 500 and less employees. I'm sorry. Hold on here. Is it 500 or 5,000? I'm questioning myself.
It's a definition of a small business shocked me because to me, I was like, that's not a small business. But it is. I think it might be
500 employees and less than $8 million. Yeah. So when I said 5,000, I thought that didn't make sense. So small businesses. So the challenge with the small business is 2 out of 10 fail their first year. So a lot of people, a lot of citizens may think, oh my God, JR is running this small business, or we run the campground, which is owned by the church. They must be making book, And I'm sure because I come in the hospitality business. I work with Marriott and Bethesda. So I know that it can have this perception that we're all rolling in gold, right? Which isn't true. Which, we're not Tesla. Oh, God, that'd be nice if we were. But so the challenge is 2 out of every 10 small businesses fail the first year. 5 out of 10 fail the first 5 years. So the failure rate's very high. But normally citizens don't see that. So the challenge is when it comes to business is there's this perception like, oh yeah, I see that fancy car you drive, JR. That's a nice car. I drive a Honda CRV, right? Well, you drive a nice car, but they don't realize that you have to deliver in that trailer, which is not fun because I've helped you, thousands and thousands of chairs. And so you need a big vehicle. And so that's the perception of people in the community sometimes is that business owners are just so well-to-do. And we know business owners, I'm not going to say, who are struggling. Yeah. Small businesses, and don't name names.
No, I won't. But I've had several tell me we've picked up extra jobs.
You have to. I mean,
I did.
I have an extra job.
Yeah.
My wife has an extra job. And so my wife helps in Hardy County at the school system. She also has her own business she started. She does recruiting. And so she has, I think, like 5 jobs is what she tells me.
And she's like an excellent recruiter.
Well, she won an Oscar in 2015. And so she comes from that industry. So.
Yeah. See, I have that in my family. An Oscar winner. What do you have?
But she's very talented. But she's not like a Hollywood person where, she's just down to earth and nice and she's just super sweet. But she works a lot because a business just can't, especially in this area where there's a smaller geography to pull from. Our business at the campground is based on outside clients, which is good.
And every business is different because mine's based on inside clients.
Yeah. And so which is local restaurants.
Yeah, local restaurants. So it's kind of funny because I was already told that by making these videos, I'm endangering my business.
Are you sure somebody just wasn't trying to bully you and not trying to change your viewpoint?
No, but
sure?
But the thing is, if that sword cuts both ways.
Well, it does,
because for every person that might boycott me because of my views, there's another person that might boycott the other business because of their views. I mean, so it's like
people don't. So this is a 30,000 foot view. People don't they don't, how do I say this right? In other words, if you knew what Procter & Gamble, how they spent their money outside of employees and if like Bud Light.
Yeah.
They ran into a big issue trying to go woke and it really killed their business. Same thing happened with the company last week. They lost $400 million in one day.
Yeah. The Planet Fitness.
Yeah. So, there's big companies like that, but normally, people are like, I would never support a business that agreed with, this. Well, there's so many like Procter & Gamble. So many of our products are made by them. It's hard to buy something that's not Procter & Gamble.
Yeah.
I mean, because they buy, like, let's say Tide. Our mother used Tide. And so I still buy Tide. now I switched to Costco to brand to save money. Kirkland
Isn't
brand.
it Kirkland?
I'm not even sure what Kirkland means.
I don't.
But I'm a big Costco member. So we switch sometimes, but it really comes down to if you really knew what your businesses supported. Some people say it would affect how you actually shopped. The challenge is if you're in a small area like here, you don't have a lot of competition. So it's not like you can say, well, hey, listen, I don't like the way such and such fries his chicken, and he does this. I'm not gonna go there anymore. Well, there's only like 3 restaurants, so it's a little hard to penalize you for that. But anyway, you asked me a question like 10 minutes ago. I didn't answer it. Expenses. So the way a business is profitable is not just the revenue, even though good revenue hides all sins. That's a good rule of thumb. It's the expense side of the business. And so expenses in business are employees. We pay not only an hourly wage for an employee, we pay for workers' compensation for the employee in case they get hurt. We pay a certain part of that employee's taxes. So there are payroll expenses that come with the employee outside of what I pay. Let's say I paid you $20 an hour. There's probably another $3 to $5 I'm paying on the back end. And so, and I'm not, I just want everyone to know, I'm not a CPA. just for the record, I'm not a CPA. People who run our big organizations in town, I'm sure they're CPAs. I'm not one, but I've worked in the world of P&Ls, and I have a really good CPA who I talk to twice a week. But so those are expenses. The other expense, such as just say for the campground, toilet paper. Yes. Mm-hmm. We provide toilet paper, and our customers love that we provide toilet paper. Water and electric. Potomac Edison had a major price increase this year,
and just announced again
another one,
2025.
And that was a killer because your house electric and your house is a different size than the one I live in, but house electric could be anywhere from $100 to $200 a month. I'm assuming.
Listen, that's low. When they put that on the Facebook and people responded, I have people saying we already spend $500 a month.
That's high
in electric
for a residence.
Yes,
that's high.
Yeah,
now it depends.
And they're like, and it's going up.
Depends how they heat their house. Yeah. If they heat it with gas is propane's less expensive than an HVAC or whatnot.
I don't know if it all just comes out in the wash because you still like if you have to fill out twice for propane,
it's less money. I'm telling you. Well, I wish I had my smart guy.
I know
my
HVAC
guy.
I know it's just about $1,000 every time I fill up. A little less, just about somewhere in there.
Yeah, but I look at for the church and the campground. I look at usage between electric. I don't look at what they charge me. I look at my usage between electric and propane, and I think propane. And actually, I'm pretty sure Shane, my friend, my electrician, he would tell me propane's more affordable, but it's an expense. And so you look at the cost of electric, which is went up for the businesses, but look what's went up for the residents as well. And there was another one advertised. So these, I know Petersburg prides themselves on being a retirement community. Traditionally, retirees are called retirees because they don't work anymore. So they're living off of a
fixed income.
Whether they have a pension, whether they have investments, Social Security or whatnot. So that's going to affect them whenever the prices go up. But so there's utilities, there's vehicle expenses, there is expenses for. We had a tent, somebody broke the zipper. So we have to pay someone to come, Joanne, to come and fix the zipper. So then when you look at, those are expenses, but there's also expenses that come from property taxes. So when it comes to the levy in Grant County, if the levy passes, which is up to the citizens, obviously, and I said this, I don't live in the county. Mitch doesn't live in the county. You live in the county.
I live in the county.
Our mother does. Mitch and I are not in the county. But your taxes for a business, I think I heard them say 80% of it comes from businesses.
Yeah, I think that was the number. Yeah.
And so if 80% comes from businesses, that's a business expense. And the way it is on the P&L for us, and our accountant does it, it's actually called it's an expense, which is called property taxes. Mm-hmm. So it is it's the same as if I'm paying an employee, it is a reduction in my profit. So as a business, when I'm trying to figure out what my price is, let's say for a tent, I look at what prices are in the area, what is it competitively, what my expenses are. If I had to pay an extra $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, whatever it may be, depending on what my property tax was as a business, I would have to adjust my prices. So traditionally, I shouldn't say no business person. Very few business people would ever say this openly, because there is a negative perception of business owners. There's a concept that
we're all super rich and just rolling around. Yeah.
There's that perception, and that's okay. I mean, that perception comes from people. People are going to hate me for saying this, like Joe Biden. Joe Biden he's been a government employee his
entire life. Yeah.
He's never run a business. And so,
well, he maybe when he was a kid, he actually I don't want to say actually held a job, like it's not a job, but where he wasn't getting money from the government.
I mean, looking at him and his adult career, he's been paid by tax money. So it means the viewpoint of a person like that is just different than a business owner. We see the levy as, and it doesn't affect me, said that 100 times, it affects you and every other business in Grant County, is it's going to increase your expenses, which means you're going to have to increase your costs, increase your selling price.